Live from the tank on the campus of the College of Staten Island, you're watching exclusive non-conference basketball coverage right here on CSI Sportsnet. This afternoon, the College of Staten Island will look to get their good start continued as they will face the NYU Violets in this Sunday afternoon matinee non-conference game. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Babuski, and the College of Staten Island is getting ready to come into this game this afternoon, having won their first game against St. Joe's Brooklyn earlier this week, and will look to continue their winning ways as they will face the NYU Violets here this afternoon. We had a little bit of a delay getting on the air, but we're ready to bring you the broadcast coverage here this afternoon as the Dolphins will face the Violets. The Violets, like the Dolphins, coming in with a new head coach here in 2018, so it should make for an interesting contest between these two teams. And like the Dolphins, the NYU Violets have also had a big turnover in their roster, having lost their leading scorer from last year. So a lot of similarities between these two teams as we get ready for this game here this afternoon. For NYU, it will be their first game of the season and their first game under new head coach Meg Barber. For the Dolphins, Nicole Saccone, of course, in her first year as well. But the Dolphins haven't opened up their season earlier this week with a big win against St. Joe's Brooklyn. So the teams are lining up on the floor. We'll step aside and take a break for the national anthem, and then we'll be back to bring you the starting lineups and this afternoon's game between the Dolphins and Violets right here on CSI Sportsnet.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that. You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And then I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
We're back, and we're just moments away from the start of this afternoon's game between the Dolphins and the NYU Violets. And as the players are being introduced out on the floor, let's bring you today's starting lineup. First for the visiting Violets, number 1, Annie Barnett. Number 3, Shane McGooey. Number 5, Bianca Notarini. Number 33, Casey O'Connor. And number 44, Olivia Linebarger. For the College of Staten Island, it'll be Megan McEwen, Diana Tadero, Brianna Rubinski, Jacqueline Calley, and Rosa Perone. The Violets coached by first-year head coach Meg Barber as she makes her coaching debut for the Violets here this afternoon. And Nicole Saccone also in her first season for the Dolphins, replacing Tim Shanahan after the very successful run of Coach Shanahan over 6 years as Dolphin head coach. Will look to continue the Dolphins' winning way as they will have a tough non-conference matchup here this afternoon against NYU. These two teams began facing each other way back in 1983, I should say, and the Dolphins won their first two contests before the Violets ran off 22 wins in a row But the Dolphins were able to break that streak last year with a win against NYU, and they'll look to continue that here this afternoon. And, you know, for the Dolphins, we mentioned earlier, first year under head coach Nicole Sarcone, and had a very good game on earlier this week against St. Joe's Brooklyn, and Dolphins ended up pulling away to a 24-point victory in that game. And, you know, one of the big surprises in that game was the real good play of Kayla Schmitter in her first game as a Dolphin. She came in off the bench and really played well for the Dolphins and really was able to give them an inside presence at 6 feet for the Dolphins. And that really was something that was very encouraging in the Dolphins' first game of the year. Megan McEwen coming in and playing with a lot of confidence in the point guard position. Earlier this week, Diana Tadero now with increased responsibilities coming in and playing well. Rosa Perone also playing well for the Dolphins in that first game. So a lot of excitement coming into this matinee game here this afternoon against NYU. And, you know, for the Dolphins, it doesn't get much easier as they will face William Patterson on Tuesday and then have a week off before playing Misericordia. So a good non-conference basketball for the Dolphins here early in this 2018-19 season. And, you know, a good opportunity for the Dolphins to see where they are against some of the other teams in the region. Dolphins coming out, of course, in their home white uniform, Columbia blue trim. NYU in their black and violet. As we're about ready to get underway here this afternoon, we mentioned a little bit earlier the Violets with a big turnover in their roster as well, a new coach for the Violets. And, you know, you look up and down their roster, and we'll get into it a little bit more during the course of the game. But, you know, their scoring is essentially having lost their leading scorer last year. They're going to be looking for points as well. So the ball is tipped, and we're underway here as Linebaugh controls the opening tip here for the Violets. That's Barrett with the basketball. Barrett working the ball over to Notarini, and the freshman puts up the first shot and buries the three-pointer. So good start for the Violets, and they take a 3-0 lead. McEwen working the ball out over to Callie. Callie looking to drive inside. A nice feed inside to Tadero. A little bit of contact, but nothing called. And now it'll be Notarini with the ball once again. They work the ball around the perimeter. Ball comes back to Linebaugh. Her jumper is no good, and this time Callie there to grab the rebound. Wabinski back up over to Callie. She thought about the three-pointer. The ball's going to be worked around to Magui. Ball wrapped around the perimeter now as they work the ball outside the three-point line. Now over to Magui. She drives baseline, and that shot's going to be up and no good, and the rebound's going to be grabbed by Rubinski. McEwen with the basketball now as she backs the ball out. Now it's Perone in the lane, and her short floater is good. The shot is up and in, and NYU takes a 5-2 lead. McEwen now with the basketball, hands off to Callie out by the three-point line. She uses the Perone screen. Her long three-pointer is up and no good, and the rebound grabbed by the Violets. They're looking to run. Barrett feeds it inside, and we're going to have a whistle and an offensive foul. Nice play that time by Callie to draw the offensive foul. So that'll be a turnover by the Violets. We played 2 minutes, 50 seconds. And NYU leading by a score of 5-2. McEwen working the ball out to Perone, out by the three-point line. Now inside to Tadero. She wanted to give it back to Perone, but that was well defended. Callie Getting the ball over to Rubinski, inside 10 on the shot clock. Rubinski drives down the lane. The shot's no good, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul on the play. And we're going to keep it right here. Looking to see the call out on the play. It looked like the Dolphins would maintain possession, and they will with a fresh shot clock. Rubinski looking for somewhere to go with the basketball. She's just able to get it inbounds in time to Perone. Back to McEwen. She takes the three-pointer and buries it. Megan's been very impressive in the point guard role here early this year for the Dolphins as the Violets try to run, but the pass is going to bounce off McGooey and go out of bounds, and it will be Dolphin ball off the turnover. That second foul was called on Barrett. So Barrett and Nadarani with the two personals here for the Violets early in the first quarter. Rubinski now to Darrow. Darrow spinning inside, now passes it over to Perone baseline. Perone working away inside, and a floater is up and in. And if the Dolphins could ever get good, solid, consistent play out of Perone inside, that would make a big difference. She's 2 for 2 here early in this first quarter, and the Dolphins have their first lead of the game, 7-5. Barrett with the basketball. Barrett out by the three-point line. Now she kicks the ball to the corner. Ball work baseline once again to Barrett. She passes it in the corner. The long three-pointer by McGooey is up, no good. Fight for the rebound, and McEwen comes away with it. Megan kicking it now in the corner to Rubinski. Her pass is deflected away, but Tadero able to retrieve. And now Callie will get it over to McEwen, who will reset the offense with 15 seconds remaining on the shot clock. McEwen stops. Her jumper is up, no good. Rebound inside is going to be grabbed by Linebarger. They work the ball quickly up the floor now to McGooey. Her shot is no good. Tadero there for the rebound for the Dolphins. NYU hit their first shot here this afternoon. They've gone a little quiet from the field since then. Perone the baseline jumper, and that's good. Rosa Perone, 3 for 3 out of the gate, and the Dolphins take a 9-5 lead with 5 minutes and 24 seconds remaining here in this first quarter. So great start for Perone, and that gives the Dolphins a 9-5 lead. We're back, and we have 5 minutes and 24 seconds remaining. NYU scored the first basket, but since then it's been a 9-2 Dolphin run, and they take a 9-5 lead with 5 minutes and 19 seconds remaining here in this first quarter. Barrett with the basketball. Barrett pulls out at the three-point line, guarded by McEwen. They work the ball around now to Koyama, and her long three-pointer is good. So Lauren Koyama comes into the game. She hits a three-pointer, and that brings back NYU back to within a point. Callie out by the three-point line. Callie looking to work her way inside. She drives down the baseline, and she's going to get called for the travel. A couple of substitutions for the Violets off that timeout. And now the Dolphins turn the ball over, and it will be Violet basketball with the Dolphins leading by a score of 9-8. Violets looking to work the ball inside. Now they're going to kick the ball out towards the three-point line. Now it's Barrett in the corner. Barrett working it over to O'Connor, and the long three-pointer is up. No good. Fight for the rebound, and Tadaro tips the ball to McEwen. Dolphins looking to run, but NYU back. Perone putting up that jumper. That's off the rim. No good. Barrett in to grab the rebound. Now she's looking to push the ball up the floor for the Violets. McGooey gets the ball back up over to Barrett, and now the Violets setting up offensively. O'Connor. O'Connor looks to drive it inside, and we're going to have a jump ball called. And it will be Dolphin basketball off the possession arrow. 9-8 to score. Perone with 6 of the 9 Dolphin points. And 4 minutes remaining here in the first quarter. Callie with the basketball. She stops, pulls up for the three-pointer, and buries it. Callie 1 of 2 from the three-point line now here in this first quarter. And the Dolphins take a 12-8 lead. Barrett working the ball over to Linebarger, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul called. That'll be on the Dolphins. Be their first foul of the quarter. We'll have a substitution in the game. Checking in will be number 21, Megan McLaughlin, 6'3" in center, freshman from Mount Laurel. Biggest player out on the floor for either team. O'Connor with the basketball out by the three-point line. Now they work the ball in the corner. That's McGooey with the basketball. McLaughlin gets her first touch. She passes it over to Barrett. Barrett working it over to Koyama. Back to Barrett. She has the open three. That's no good. Perone does a nice job and grabs the rebound for the Dolphins. McEwen back in the corner to Callie. She fakes her way inside. A pass into the center of the floor is retrieved by McEwen. McEwen driving baseline. That was a tough shot, but they're grabbing the weak side rebound is Perone to lay it up and in. She now has 8 to lead all scorers. And we're going to have a whistle and a foul inside, and that will be called on the Dolphins. And we'll see who that foul will be on. Be the second team foul of the Dolphins here in this first quarter. 2 minutes, 41 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Dolphins have their biggest lead. It's 6. As that foul will be on Rubinski, and that will be her second for the Dolphins. McEwen getting the ball up over to Rubinski. She backs the ball out at the three-point line. Long cross-court pass over to Callie. And now the Dolphins will set up with 20 on the shot clock. Perone driving away inside. That shot is up. No good. McLaughlin there to grab the rebound, and now it's the Violets looking to run. Violets working the ball down. Now they'll pass the ball out to the three-point line and set up once again with 20 on the shot clock. Nine seconds to shoot here for the Violets as they work that ball back up over to Barrett. Now in the corner to McLaughlin. Barrett putting up the long three-pointer, no good. As she was able to hit that long jumper, but not before the shot clock expired. So a turnover for the Violets, and it'll be Dolphin basketball as Rubinski will check out for the Dolphins. She picked up 2 fouls in that first quarter. So Nicole and Bessie will check in. We have 1:40 left in the first quarter as that pass inside through the hands of Mbesi, out of bounds, so it'll be a turnover that time for the Dolphins. 14-8 to score. We approach 90 seconds remaining here in this first quarter. Koyama working the ball out to McLaughlin. She's guarded out by the three-point line by Perone. Now Koyama. Now they work it inside to McLaughlin, and Perone gets called for going over the back. That will be the first foul of this quarter for Perone with 1:17 remaining. The 13th foul on the Dolphins. So the Violets will inbound now with a fresh 30-second shot clock. Long three-pointer is up off the rim. No good. Fight for the rebound, and it's Mbesi to come away with the ball for the Dolphins. Mbesi, McEwen. She feeds the ball inside now, as that's going to be Kayla Schmitter, who checked into the game, and she hits her first jumper. And the Dolphins now open up a 16-8 lead. They've been on a 16-5 run since the Violets opened with the first three-pointer of the game. Notarani with the basketball. Now it's McLaughlin out by the three-point line. Bounce pass now goes inside, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul called on the Dolphins. Notraahi will go to the free throw line. As that first free throw is up and no good. Notriani's second free throw is up, no good, so she misses the pair. And Callie comes back for the rebound. It's about just under 4-second differential in the shot clock and the game clock here in this first quarter. Good first quarter for the Dolphins, and they lead by 8. Tadero tried to force the ball inside, and the Dolphins turn the ball over. And we'll have another substitution here for the Violets. As Notriani checks out of the game. And now it's Koyoba bringing the ball across. Shot clock is off. 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Koyama switched and guarded now by Tadero. The open three-pointer that time taken by Foos is no good, and that's going to do it. 1 quarter in the books, and the Dolphins lead by a score of 16-8. So we played 1 quarter of play. Dolphins lead by 8. We'll step aside, take a break. You're watching women's basketball coverage right here on CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late...
We're back. 1 quarter in the books. The Dolphins lead by a score of 16-8. As for the Dolphins, Rosa Perone having a very good first quarter. As she came out, she hit her first couple of shots and really played well for the Dolphins on both ends of the floor, and that's really helped the Dolphins to get out to a 16-8 lead here after 1 quarter of play. So we're about to get underway here in quarter number 2. For the Dolphins, the same 5 that finished the quarter. It'll be Callie and Bessie, Schmitter, McEwen, and Tadero on the floor for the Dolphins as that pass is knocked away beautifully by Mbesi, and it's the Dolphins with the basketball as Schmitter gets called for the travel. So the teams exchange turnovers here in the first 15 seconds of this second quarter. So the Violets will bring the ball up the floor, down by 8, 16-8. Violets looking to get the ball inside to McLaughlin. Now they work the ball out. The open three-pointer is no good as NYU's shooting struggles continue here at the Tank. The pass inside by Callie is knocked away, and it'll be a jump ball, and this time the possession arrow will go to the Dolphins, but Dolphins with their first 2 possessions here in the second quarter. The Violets have done a nice job getting in the way of the passing lanes. They stole one of them and nearly came away with a second turnover. Schmitter Hands it off to Callie. Callie picks up the dribble. And now is forced to hand it off to McEwen. Now to Darrow. Back up to Callie. She takes the three-pointer. That ball's no good. McEwen tries to save it, but it'll go out of bounds. And it will be Violet basketball. We played just under a minute here in this second quarter. Neither team has been able to score, and Barrett will bring the ball up the floor now. She works the ball up over to Koyama. Now Barrett working it to O'Connor. O'Connor guarded by Mbesi. Worked inside, and we're going to have a whistle and an offensive foul called on the play. Is that time Casey O'Connor went right into the Dolphin defender, and the Dolphins draw the offensive foul. So Jackie Callie will check out of the game for the Dolphins. Devin Mooney, the freshman, will check into the game. Devin got her first taste of action as a CSI Dolphin in the Dolphin win against St. Joe's Brooklyn earlier this week. McEwen with the basketball. Now it's Mooney. Mooney looks to feed it inside to McEwen. The Dolphins nearly lose the ball once again. We're going to have a whistle and a jump ball possession, and this time the possession arrow will go to the Violets. So the Dolphins here through the beginning of the second quarter struggling a little bit to set up their offense. They've turned the ball over once and had a couple of jump ball possession arrows through this first 90 seconds as the Violets really turn up their defensive intensity to start the second quarter. And now we're going to have a whistle away from the ball. And that foul will be on Mbesi for the Dolphins as Nicole picks up her first and the team's, or her second, I should say, the team's first here in the second quarter. Koyama with the basketball back to Barrett. Barrett now lobbing the ball into the corner as that's Foos. Foos putting up the open three, and that's good. So Katie Foos breaks a Violet scoring slump with a three. Three of NYU's baskets are threes, and it's now a 5-point game as McEwen puts up the three-pointer. That will be no good, and it will be Violet basketball as Dolphins continue to look for ways to get their offense on track here in this second quarter. Don't believe they've gotten the ball up to the rim yet on a couple of their shots. So the Violets with the basketball now, trailing by 5. Koyama with the basketball. They work the ball around to Foos. Foos looking to work on Tadero as Perone gets ready to check back in. Good defensive play that time by McEwen. As Lauren Gast had checked in for the Violets, another 6' 1" player. And the Violets will inbound now with 7 seconds remaining on the shot clock. And Rosa Perone checking in now for Diana Tadero. Violets looking to inbound as the bounce pass goes inside. It cuts back. Koyama, the three-pointer is up. No good. Fight for the rebound, and that time the Violets able to come away with it. And it's Gas with the offensive rebound and a second chance opportunity here for NYU. Koyama working on McEwen. They look to feed the ball inside, and now we're going to have a travel called on Gas, the 6' 1" freshman from St. Louis. And the Dolphins still looking for their first points here in this second quarter, as it's just been one basket here by both teams in the first 3 minutes. McEwen picking up her dribble. Now able to work the ball out over to Schmitter. She hands the ball back to McEwen. Now it's Perone on the floor. In the corner, the open three-pointer is in and out, as Mooney's three-pointer halfway down but bounced out for the Dolphins. Koyama working it now up over to Foos. Barrett now in the corner. The long three-pointer halfway down and out. It's going to be out of last touch by Gast, and it will be Dolphin basketball. So Mbesi will inbound, And McEwen will bring up the ball up the floor now for the Dolphins. Mooney. And we're going to have a whistle and an offensive foul on the moving screen. That will be called against McEwen. And that will be the second team foul for the Dolphins and the first foul on McEwen here this afternoon. Barrett with the basketball. Working the ball in the corner to Foos. Back to Barrett now. Now Gast with the basketball. Violet's working the ball around the perimeter now. As that comes out to Barrett once again, but she'll get called with the travel as both teams turn the ball over. So Nicole and Bessie will check out. Brianna Rubinski will check back in. Brianna will check back in with 2 fouls for the Dolphins. So McEwen will bring the ball up the floor now for NYU. Perone with the basketball. Mooney working the ball inside that time to Schmitter. Now it's going to be back to Rubinski as the Dolphins working the shot clock down with 8 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Rubinski looking to drive her way inside. She kicks it out to Perone. Perone has to force up the shot late in the shot clock, and Barrett grabs the rebound for the Violets. Barrett working the ball inside. Perone comes over, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul called on the Dolphins, as that foul will get called on Mooney, and that will be her first and the third team foul for the Dolphins, with 5 minutes and 17 seconds remaining here in this second quarter. And it's going to be a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it right here. Dolphins leading by a score of 16-11. It was a 16-8 Dolphin lead heading into quarter number 2, and both teams have come out and played effective defensively, and we've only had 1 basket here in the second half as both teams struggled to solve the other team's defense. A couple of turnovers for both teams, and for the Dolphins, really looking to get back on track. They had a pretty good first quarter offensively, but here in quarter number 2, NYU brought in a little bit more size, turned up the defensive intensity, and other than that Mooney three-pointer from the baseline that went in and out, Dolphins looking for good shots here in the second quarter. So the Violets will inbound now with the fresh 30-second shot clock off of the Mooney foul. 20 seconds now remaining on the shot clock as that's Koyama with the basketball, guarded by McEwen. The Violets look to flash inside. Shot goes up. No good, but Dolphins not able to come away with the basketball. And now we're going to have a whistle and a foul called on Mooney, as the Violets get a little bit bailed out on that one, as they had their back to the basket with 6 seconds remaining on the shot clock, and a touch foul called on Mooney. That's going to be her second, so she'll go to the bench, and now the Violets will inbound once again with a fresh 30-second shot clock. Koyama with the basketball, looking to work on Callie, who's checked back into the game. And working the ball inside that time and laying it up and in is O'Connor. That's her first basket, and it's now a 3-point game. McEwen to Perone. Perone short jumper is up. That's no good. Perone with 8 of the 16 Dolphin points, but misses that jumper, and now it's NYU's ball with a chance to tie with a 3-pointer. Barrett with the basketball. Working the ball out around to Notriahani. Now in the corner, the long 3-pointer is up off the basket. No good. It's going to be knocked out of bounds. Last touch by O'Connor, so it will be Dolphin basketball, who have yet to score a point here in quarter number 2. 16-13 the score. McEwen with the basketball for the Dolphins. Now Rubinski. Rubinski looking to drive her way inside. That layup is up, no good. That time Brianna was able to get to the basket, but could not convert, and it'll be Violet basketball. Barrett with the basketball. Barrett out by the three-point line, gets the ball up over to Notriani. Notriani out at the three-point line now with 12 seconds remaining on the shot clock. She's able to drive to the basket. That shot's up, no good. But Perone has the ball taken out of her hands. And now the Violets will get a fresh 30-second shot clock. Barrett working the ball out over to O'Connor. Violets working the ball around the perimeter now with 15 on the shot clock. O'Connor gets called for the travel. So the Violets can't take advantage of the Dolphin turnover as they turn the ball over themselves, and it'll be Dolphin basketball with exactly 3 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Rubinski to inbound the basketball. Dolphins starting five out on the floor now. McEwen, Rubinski, Callie, Tadero, and Perone. Rubinski out by the three-point line. Now it's McEwen. McEwen works her way inside it. A jumper from the free throw line extended is good. Dolphins get their first basket with 2:40 remaining here in the second quarter, but they up their lead back to 5. O'Connor with the basketball. Now Barrett. Koyama out by the three-point line, guarded by Callie. She now feeds the ball inside. Open three-point look now for O'Connor. That three-pointer is up, no good. But we're going to have a whistle and a travel called on Gass. So that time Gass able to go up high and grab the rebound. But good harassing defense by the Dolphins forces the turnover. And it'll be Dolphin basketball now with 2 minutes and 16 seconds remaining here in this second quarter. McEwen with the basketball. Now Tadero. Perone. Over to Callie, the open three-pointer. As she's knocked down on the play, nothing called as McEwen drives inside. That's no good, and now the Violets control the rebound. So the Dolphins able to get a second chance opportunity, but not able to convert. And now it'll be Violet basketball, but their pass will go inside. And it'll be back to a turnover now for the Violets, as it'll be Dolphin basketball with 1 minute 44 seconds remaining here in this second quarter. It'll be a 30-second timeout. So we're going to keep it right here. A low-scoring quarter for both teams, as it was 16-8 going into the end of the quarter. Here in quarter number 2, just one basket for the Dolphins, but NYU just able to score 5 points on their own. So we find ourselves in an 18-13 matchup here with 1 minute 44 seconds remaining here in this second quarter. Brianna Rubinski, the only Dolphin with 2 fouls out on the floor. Devin Mooney also picked up 2 fouls. 14 fouls for the Dolphins here in quarter number 2, just 1 for the Violets. So they do have fouls to give here in this second quarter if they choose to do so, as McEwen brings the ball up the floor now. Perone out at the three-point line. Now it's Callie. Callie feeds it inside to Perone. His ball deflected away inside, but last touch by the Violets, so it will remain Dolphin basketball now with 1 minute and 28 seconds remaining. Dolphins work the ball inside. A tough shot that time by Rubinski. That's no good. And the Violets now with the basketball. Barrett. Barrett working the ball to Koyama. Koyama out behind the three-point line. Now Nodarahi. They feed the ball inside now to Linebarger into the corner. The jumper is up, no good. A fight for the rebound, and McEwen comes away with it for the Dolphins as we're inside of 50 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Whistle and a foul as Callie looked to take the ball to the basket. That's going to be on O'Connell. That's going to be her first. Just a second for the Violets. So the Dolphins will inbound with 30 on the shot clock and 49.2 seconds remaining here in the first half. Dolphins once again having trouble getting the ball inbounds. Last time they were able to get it in just before the 5-second violation. That time not able to do so. So the Dolphins will turn the ball over. 48.6 seconds remaining here in this first half. Violets inbound the basketball now as that's Koyama as she brings the ball up across the midcourt line. Looking to work on Callie, now Notarani. Notarani working on Verbinski. She gets the ball up over to Linebarger. Linebarger over to Koyama. She feeds the ball inside as that short jumper is up no good. And once again, it's McEwen coming away with the rebound for the Dolphins. Perot driving away inside, and she's going to get called for the offensive foul. Perot not liking that call at all, but that's going to be her second personal with 21.8 seconds remaining in the quarter. Only 7 points scored by both teams here in quarter number 2, and the Violets with the basketball and the shot clock off. Koyama with the basketball, looking to work against Callie. Inside of 10 seconds remaining. And we're going to have a whistle and an offensive foul called, so both teams turning the ball over. And that could give the Dolphins an opportunity for the final shot here in the second quarter. And the Dolphins don't inbound the basketball and turn the ball over off of the inbounds pass. So the Violets, off of the Dolphins' turnover, will inbound with 7 seconds remaining. Koyama, Barrett. Barrett with 5, looking to work against McEwen. Barrett looking to work against side. That shot's going to be up no good. So an offensive second quarter for both teams to forget. 2 baskets for the Violets, 1 basket for the Dolphins, 5-2. The scoring in the second quarter, and we'll go into halftime with the Dolphins leading by a score of 18-13. So we're going to step aside and take a break. Once again at halftime, Dolphins lead by a score of 18-13. You're watching women's basketball coverage exclusively on your voice of everything, CSI Sports, CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same. Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And then I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again. But an awkward silence can be a great thing. like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And then I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And then I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And then I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addicted. I didn't know how far it'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addicted. I didn't know how far it'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addicted. I didn't know how far it'd go to get.
We're back, and we're at halftime now with the Dolphins leading by a score of 18-13. The Dolphins led after one quarter, 16-8, a low-scoring second-half affair. Just 2 baskets for the Violets and 1 basket for the Dolphins here in that second quarter, and we're very pleased to be joined by Joe Foreman, as Joe will come on and join us here in the second half. And, you know, Joe, this is a young Dolphin team, a team with a brand-new coach and a lot of brand-new players, and a team we haven't had much of a chance to talk about together yet, but a team that came up big in their first win against St. Joe's Brooklyn earlier this week and go into halftime with a 5-point lead against NYU.
And what really stood out in that game against St. Joseph's College of Brooklyn was how many points the Dolphins scored in the paint. I don't have those stats prepared in front of me from the last game, but CSI did a lot of its work on the offensive end inside, scoring baskets around the rim. And last year we saw the Dolphins hoisting up a lot of three-pointers, and that was a big part of their offense in 2017. And so far in 2018, albeit a very small sample size, we've seen the Dolphins look inside a bit more than we did last year, though in this game they've struggled offensively overall after a fairly good first quarter, that saw the Dolphins, I believe, leading 16-8, or may have even been 13-8 coming out of the first. I don't have the box score as I just came over here, but keeping official book, it was apparent to me how little scoring there was in the second quarter, and I don't think that was lost on anybody here or the coaching staff on either side.
Yeah, so the Dolphins go into halftime shooting 8 of 24 from the field. NYU shooting just 5 of 23 from the field. The rebounds even at 15 apiece. And, you know, in game number 1, Joe, against St. Joe's Brooklyn, Kayla Schmitter came in her first game as a CSI Dolphin and, you know, really played very well for the Dolphins and scored over 20 points in that game and shot 9 of 13 from the field to go along with 6 rebounds. So a big freshman start for Schmitter in game number 2. But like most of the Dolphins here offensively this afternoon, Dolphins looking to score. Dolphins being led at halftime with Rosa Perone's 8 points.
Well, the Dolphins had to love what they saw from Schmitter in that first game against St. Joe's of Brooklyn, and they have to love what they've seen from Rosa Perone in this one. Perone came out on fire. I believe she hit either her first 4 shots or 4 of her first 5. Got off to a great start from the field. We saw her display the ability to shoot that mid-range jump shot as well. We didn't see her put up many shots from that range last year. We've seen most of her work done inside, and we mentioned the Dolphins scoring more in the paint through the first game and a half so far this year, and Perone was one of the sources of offense inside they turned to last year. If she can stay out of foul trouble and stay on the floor, the Dolphins have to like what they've seen from her and will probably look to turn to her more, assuming, of course, she's able to stay out of foul trouble and stay in the game. That's been an issue for Perone over the last couple of years that I've covered Dolphins basketball. But like I said, they have to love what they saw from Perone in the first half, and, of course, they loved what they saw from Kayla Schmitter in that first game against St. Joseph's College of Brooklyn just a couple of days ago.
And the Dolphins had turned the ball over 10 times in the first half. NYU with 12 turnovers, so both teams turning the ball over a little bit. And, you know, really, Joe, like you mentioned, the Dolphins leading 16-8 after 1 quarter, but really struggling to find a good offensive pattern in quarter number 2.
Well, the offense has certainly struggled, especially in the second quarter, where the Dolphins only scored a couple of points. But you do have to like what you've seen from this team defensively. NYU and the Dolphins played a very close game at NYU last year. I believe it was a 2-point Violets victory in that game. I think we actually went on the air that day when the Dolphins played NYU. It was a close one, but this year, the Dolphins have a halftime lead, playing very well defensively. If they can get it going at the offensive end, they have to love what they've done at the defensive end. And enough offense in the second half to pull away in this game should be enough to pick up the victory. The Dolphins still possess a 5-point lead despite a very poor second quarter. So if they can come out here in the third quarter and string together a few baskets, they should put themselves in a very good position to close this game out.
And we mentioned earlier, Joe, both teams with first-year head coaches. For Meg Barber, her first game as head coach for the Violets. And, you know, of course, for the CSI Dolphins, Nicole Sarcone in her first season, but she does have that 1 game under her belt, and that win is that win against St. Joe's Brooklyn here earlier this week at the Tank. So it'll be the Dolphins with possession as Rabinski tries to drive the ball inside, and instead she'll get called for the travel. And, you know, Brianna, one of several Dolphins struggling with their offense, Joe, in that first quarter. She was 0 for 3 and now commits the turnover.
Well, I think I had a game against MIT on my mind last year. We defeated NYU by 3 in a close game last year. So thanks to Dave Pizzuto for correcting me on that. Had the wrong game in mind.
So that rebound's going to be grabbed now by Callie, and here come the Dolphins with the basketball. Both teams not scoring in their first possession, and now the Dolphins turn it over for the 11th time here this afternoon, as that's Linebarger, and she'll back the ball out now as the Violets look to set up offensively. O'Connor with the basketball out by the three-point line. The jumper is up off the rim, no good, and Callie's there for the rebound. And Joe, the offenses continue to struggle.
Yeah, it's been missed shot after missed shot. Both teams piling up the rebounds, but neither team able to score.
As that time, Tadero drives it into the basket. She can't hit it. Now Perone looks to grab the rebound. She's unable to do so, but it'll be the foul on Linebarger, and the Dolphins will keep possession of the basketball. As at time, Joe, the Dolphins did a nice job working it inside, but couldn't get the ball down.
And that sequence right there really sums up what we saw in the first half. Good opportunities around the rim, and the Dolphins unable to convert. We've seen them get inside, but haven't been efficient from that range.
Callie now gets the ball out over to McEwen. Now back out over to Callie as the Dolphins look to set up. It's Callie looks to drive inside, and she's going to turn the ball over once again. So the second half not starting much better than the second quarter, Joe, offensively for either team.
It's been a very sloppy game, and the turnover numbers attest to that as well. I think that was number 13 for the Dolphins right there. It was 12 for the Violets as well, so 25 total turnovers in just over 2 quarters of play.
So it'll be now the Violets with the basketball as that's Barrett with the ball. Her pass is going to be stolen away, and Wabitsky will come away with the ball for the Dolphins. Wabitsky over to McEwen. She lobs it out over to Perone. Perone looking to work her way inside, and she's going to get called for the travel. A little bit of contact on the play, but Perone gets caught shuffling her feet, and the Dolphins turn it over once again.
A couple of very quick turnovers for the Dolphins, certainly not the way they wanted to come out, but fortunately for them, their defense has forced NYU into nearly as many turnovers as well.
One of the lowest scoring games in memory, as it's 18-13 now, 2 minutes in to this third quarter, as that jumper is up and in, and that'll draw the Violets to within 3, 18-15.
Something I noticed in the first half, NYU has had a bit of a slow trigger on the jump shots, had some opportunities for good looks, and really didn't look to shoot the basketball from outside of the paint very often. There they knocked down the mid-range jump shot.
McEwen driving inside, and now Perone's going to get called for the foul. As not a good offensive sequence that time for the Dolphins. Perone traveling inside, but a little too much traffic in there. Puts up a wild shot, Joe, and then commits the loose ball foul. That's going to be her third now in the third quarter.
Well, I mentioned the foul trouble that has plagued Rosa Perone, and the Dolphins haven't been shy about attacking the rim in this game, but there hasn't been much benefit to it. NYU has been there just about every time the Dolphins have gotten inside.
McGooey with the basketball now as she works the ball out over to O'Connor. O'Connor now over to Notrati as the Violets work it around the perimeter now with 7 to shoot. Jumper taken by Linebarger. That's up no good. Collision for the rebound as McEwen getting tied up by Linebarger, and I believe it'll be Violet basketball.
It will be, Mike, as NYU will inbound just to our right, and Kayla Schmitter makes an early entrance into this game in the second half, replacing Rosa Perone, who once again finds herself in foul trouble.
Kayla played just over 7 minutes in that first quarter. Hit her only shot of the game, so maybe she could help turn around this Dolphin offense a little bit here in this third quarter. Notrahi goes down onto the floor, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul called. And that's going to be on McEwen. So McEwen picks up her second, and the second team foul for the Dolphins here in this third quarter.
Dolphins beginning to pile up the fouls as well. They were an issue in the second quarter. Their 15th foul was an offensive foul, so they didn't pay for it at the free throw line. But here in the third quarter, a couple of early fouls charged to CSI.
O'Connor. The Violets now working the ball into the corner. Good defense by the Dolphins, but a nice feed inside to Notrahi, who lays it up and draws the foul. So that's going to be the third team foul on the Dolphins in just over 3 minutes of play. And that's going to be a shooting foul. Not many free throws here this afternoon, Joe. Just 2 for the Violets, none for the Dolphins, as that first free throw is up and no good.
And it looked like Diana Tadaro had that play well defended, but Jackie Callie picked up the foul from behind on the player attacking the rim.
So Callie picks up her first. Bianca hits 1 of 2, and it's now a 2-point lead, 18-16. Schmitter backing away inside, out to McEwen. Her open 3 is up, no good. Dolphins' offensive woes continue, and here comes O'Connor with the basketball. She works the ball out now as that's Barrett with the basketball. Up over to McGooey. A feed inside, and the layup is up and in, and NYU finally coming back to tie up this game. They are in the middle of an 8-2 run since the end of the first quarter to tie it up at 18. Schmidt working her way inside. That short jumper is up, no good. And the Violets grab the rebound and an opportunity to take the lead. That open jumper is up, no good, but the Violets there to grab the rebound, and they'll get a fresh 30-second shot clock. Barrett, McGoey. Now Barrett, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul called on Tadero for the Dolphins, and that's going to be the fourth Dolphin team foul here in this third quarter.
And the Dolphins already in early third quarter foul trouble. I was scrolling through the play-by-play to try and find the last Dolphins-made basket, and I think it came with about 2:40 left in the second quarter, so a very late second quarter basket. The only time the Dolphins have scored since the first quarter concluded. We're now nearly halfway through the third.
Yeah, it's hard to believe they could maintain a tie game, having scored just 2 points in 15 minutes, as driving inside and drawing another foul will be the Dolphins. But instead we're going to have a traveling violation and a turnover. And you know, both teams have really struggled offensively here this afternoon, Joe.
They really have, and even more fortunate for the Dolphins there that foul call was overturned into a travel, because that would have been the fifth Dolphins team foul with over 5 minutes to go in the quarter. And the way these two teams have played offensively, you certainly don't want to be giving away points at the free throw line.
Let's see if the Dolphins can get a good possession here as they feed the ball inside to McEwen, who lays it up and in, and the Dolphins needed that one, Joe.
And that's certainly the good possession the Dolphins needed right there, Mike. A great cut to the rim by Megan McEwen, the pass on time, and for once in this game, the Dolphins able to get a shot up at the rim, fairly uncontested.
Dolphins lead 20-18 now as Notarahi with the basketball. Dolphins able to deflect that pass, but not knock it away as Linebarger's shot is up, no good, and Tadero goes up and grabs the rebound for the Dolphins. McEwen now out to Tadero, out by the top of the key. She feeds it inside to Schmitter. Our shot is up, no good. And the rebound grab by the Violets. McGoey. Out beyond the three-point line now is O'Connor. She feeds it over to Notarahi. Her shot is up, no good. Tadero grabs the rebound, and now the Dolphins looking to run, but the Violets get back. McEwen, bounce pass over in the corner. The open three-pointer that time by Rubinski is no good, and the Violets grab the rebound. And we're going to have a whistle and a timeout taken on the floor. It'll be a full timeout, Joe, but why don't we keep it right here anyway? 3 minutes, 53 seconds remaining here in this third quarter. Both teams continue to play well off defensively. Dolphins looking to find a way to get a little bit more productive on the offensive end.
And I'm not sure where the Dolphins can look for more productivity at that end of the floor. We've seen them challenged well inside when they've attacked the basket, something that wasn't necessarily the case against St. Joseph's College of Brooklyn. The Dolphins thrived in the paint in that game. Their defense was also very solid as well against the Bears, and that's once again been the case in this game against NYU. The Dolphins holding the Violets to only 18 points with under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, but unfortunately for them, they've only scored 20 themselves. We've seen the Dolphins from the outside really not looking to take many outside shots. Megan McEwen has been the one player who really looks to shoot it often from beyond the arc and the perimeter, but most of the other Dolphins players look to attack the basket first. We've seen Jacqueline Calley also attempt some shots from the outside as well, but we mentioned before during the halftime show, or our brief halftime conversation, that the Dolphins lost a lot of scoring from last year, of course graduating a very talented senior class, and now in 2018 they need other sources of offense, and so far it doesn't appear that they've found that from beyond the arc, though Kayla Schmitter in the first game showed what she can do from mid-range and in the paint. The Dolphins may need to turn to her here in this third quarter to try and get something going at the offensive end.
Dan, you know, we're early in the year, but already the Dolphins' first appearance in the CUNYAC Game of the Week, Joe, is the Dolphins coming off of that tough loss in the finals in the CUNYAC Championship last year, looking to bounce back under new head coach Nicole Sarcone, and up by 2 here in the third quarter with 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. Lauren Gass checking back into the game for the Violets. As the Violets working the basketball now with 5 on the shot clock. Barrett puts up that long three-pointer as the shot clock was winding down. Schmitter grabs the rebound, and now it'll be McEwen for the Dolphins. Robinski over to Schmitter out beyond the three-point line. And we're going to have a whistle and a 3-second violation. That will be on Tadero. So the Dolphins turn the ball over once again.
And that's simply an unforced mistake there by the Dolphins. Tadero called for the 3-second violation, camped in the lane. The Dolphins do need to try and get something going around the rim, but that's certainly not the way to do it. Yet another Dolphins turnover as that number piles up.
So the Violets with the basketball as they get the ball over to Notarahi. Over to Gass now out by the three-point line as she works the ball out over in the corner and putting up that short jumper. That time is Foos. And now it's Mbesi with the ball for the Dolphins. Nicole over to McEwen, to Tadero. Tadero pulls up just beyond the free throw line. That's no good. And it will be Violet basketball as Dolphins not able to convert that offensive opportunity. And now it'll be NYU basketball with 2:42 remaining here in this third quarter. Ball worked over to Foos. She puts up that open three. That's no good. And Mbesi there for the rebound for the Dolphins. Mbesi looking to drive her way inside and lay it up and in. Coast to coast by Nicole Mbesi to give the Dolphins a 4-point lead.
And a 4-point lead seems like so much more than that right now, Mike. The way these two teams have played offensively, a strong move to the rim there by Nicole Mbesi, and the Dolphins would love to see more of that.
So now the Violets looking to pound the ball inside. And we're going to have a whistle and a foul called on Schmitter. And, boy, I don't know about that one, Joe.
Well, the Dolphins have had a tough time defending the Violets inside. Seems like every time NYU takes the ball into the paint and it touches the rim, a foul is called. That will be the 15th foul. But fortunately for the Dolphins, they were able to stay out of the foul column for a couple of minutes, and NYU will only remain in the bonus for the final 2 minutes of the third.
Yeah, and that'll be a foul on Schmitter. That'll be her first, as that's going to be Gass going to the free throw line and hitting both. So NYU able to take advantage of a tough Dolphin foul as now they work it over to McEwen. That three-pointer is up, no good. Robinski grabs the rebound. Her shot is up, no good, but this time Brianna will draw the foul. That'll be just the second foul of this third quarter against the Violets.
This is another way the Dolphins could put some points up on the scoreboard, getting to the free throw line. They haven't been the beneficiaries of many foul calls so far in this game. This actually may be the first pair of free throws for CSI, and it is.
It is. We're back with 9:07 left here in this fourth quarter. We apologize for the technical delays, but since we've left, the Dolphins have been able to up their lead to 8. And there the Violets work the ball inside, get it inside to McLaughlin. She's able to lay it up and in and make it now a 28-22 game with 8:45 remaining here in this fourth quarter. McEwen with the basketball over to Tadero. She works it out to Robinski. Robinski driving her way inside, and she will draw the foul. So that time Robinski working herself into a little bit of a difficult position, but able to do a good job to draw the foul, and she will go to the free throw line with the Dolphins leading by 6 points as another low-scoring affair in the third quarter, 7 points for each team. As Robinski goes to the free throw line, and her first free throw is up and no good. So she'll have one more upcoming. Joe Foreman back on the air to join us now. And Joe, since we went off the air, the Dolphins opening up their lead to as much as 8. A nice inside play by NYU, and now the Dolphins lead by 7, 29-22.
And the way this game has gone, a 7-point lead right now in the fourth quarter seems like it may be an insurmountable lead, but you know how the level of play could be stepped up in the final quarter. We've seen it time and time again, and NYU will look to do that.
Ryan Cuffey into the game for the Violets as they work the ball over to McCooey. McCooey working against Mbesi. That pass will be knocked out of bounds by Tadero, so it'll remain Violet basketball with 13 on the shot clock. Violets looking to inbound the basketball, and they're able to do so now as it's McGooey. McGooey working it up over to Cuffey. Cuffey feeding it inside to McLaughlin, but her pass is going to be stolen by McEwen. McEwen looking to drive inside, 3 Violets, and she's able to throw it up and in. Nice move by McEwen.
We've seen a couple of strong moves from the Dolphins over the last few minutes. That one by Megan McEwen, extending the Dolphins' lead up to 9, their biggest lead of the game.
And NYU doing a nice job to come right back inside and get another basket to make it a 31-24 game now, as maybe both teams can start picking up the offense a little bit, Joe.
Certainly looks like we're headed in that direction. 7:40 to go.
Tadero with the basketball. Tadero feeding it inside to Schmitter, who lays it up and in. Nice inside pass that time by Tadero to Schmitter to make it a 9-point Dolphin lead once again.
Both teams appearing rejuvenated after that break between the third and fourth quarters, coming out strong in quarter number 4.
Barrett with the basketball now, looking to work against McEwen. She picks up her dribble, gets the ball up over to Cuffey. Now they work it over to McGooey. Violet's trying to see if they can work the ball inside a little bit. Instead, it's McGooey looking to drive her way inside. She lays it up, no good. Oh, the ball tipped around, and instead, a little bit of contact inside, and it will be Violet basketball. First team foul for the Dolphins here in quarter number 4. Tough call that time, Joe, on the Dolphins.
And we've seen the Dolphins called for a lot of fouls inside, both on shot attempts and there on a scramble for the loose ball. And a couple of fouls on the Violets, one on the Dolphins early in the fourth.
Long 3-point attempt is no good, but Barrett able to grab the ball for the Violets as they keep possession with 20 on the shot clock. Barrett working against McEwen. She feeds the ball up over to O'Connell. O'Connell driving her way inside, but her shot is short, and Wabitsky grabs the rebound and then turns the ball over. So a big turnover once again, Joe. An opportunity for the Dolphins to possibly get the lead up to double digits.
Dolphins with a 9-point lead right now, as you said, could have extended it to double digits there, but that mistake, another unforced error by the Dolphins, as both teams now have 17 turnovers in this game. The Dolphins, if they cleaned up their play, could be up double digits and could have been up double digits long ago.
McGooey with the basketball. She works the ball inside. The open 3-pointer is up, no good, but a nice job by the Violets as Barrett taps the ball back, and the Violets will get a second chance opportunity. O'Connor. And we're going to have a foul inside, away from the ball on the Dolphins.
It's hard to get a look at these fouls away from the ball, but the Dolphins on the court appear dumbfounded by the call and frustrated right now as they continue to pile up the fouls.
As that's Robinski picking up her third foul as McLaughlin working the ball over for the open 3. That's no good, but McLaughlin able to grab the long rebound. Another opportunity here for the Violets. McGooey with the basketball. McGooey working it up over to Barrett. McGooey driving her way inside. That's going to be knocked away. And Tadero controls the rebound. 2-on-2 for the Dolphins. McEwen over to Schmitter. Schmitter now bouncing it inside to Tadero, who uses her size and strength to lay it up and in. And we're going to have a timeout on the floor. The Dolphins open up their biggest lead of the game. It's 35-24 with 5 minutes and 43 seconds remaining. And, Joe, let's keep it right here. Big fourth quarter start here for the Dolphins.
And if you're the Dolphins, of course, a lot of time left, 5:43, but you have to love the position you've put yourself in right now with a strong run to open the fourth quarter. CSI has opened up an 11-point lead in this game, and I was taking a look at the personal foul tally for all the Dolphins players, and though a lot of fouls have been called, have been fortunate. Those fouls have been spread across a lot of different players. No Dolphin with more than 3 fouls in this game. Brianna Robinski and Rosa Perone, the 2 Dolphins with 3 fouls. Several more Dolphins with a pair, but now leading by 11 points. The Dolphins have a little more breathing room in this game, and they can continue to play that aggressive defense as long as it doesn't put NYU in that bonus situation where they can get some points from the free throw line. Dolphins still have a couple of fouls to play with before they reach that.
NYU was able to come back, Joe, and tie this game up at 18. But since then, it's been a 17-6 Dolphin run. And, you know, Joe, the Dolphins have done a really good job tonight of not letting their offensive struggles affect them on the defensive end.
And that's a great point, Mike. A lot of the time, your frustration at the offensive end from a lack of scoring can carry over to the defensive end of the floor. But instead, it seems to have given the Dolphins more of a sense of urgency at that end of the floor. And they've played stellar defense really from the start of this game all the way through now to the final 6 minutes. If they can continue with that kind of defensive intensity down the stretch, you have to like their chances of coming away with the victory.
And, you know, Joe, Megan McEwen, 16 points in her first game as a Dolphin starter in double digits again, once again with 10 here this afternoon. She's played very well, stepping up into her starting point guard role.
And she's demonstrated versatility at the offensive end as well as great hustle and intensity at the defensive end. She can score from inside and out.
A big three-pointer for the Violets, and they really needed that one, Joe. And that's going to be Kamaya with the three-pointer. That was a huge three-pointer, Joe, for NYU.
Big shot to bring them back to within single digits, get it back down to 8, just over 5 minutes to go.
Tadero with the wild shot, and instead, that time the Dolphins might have caught a little bit of a break, Joe, on that foul call.
We've seen many similar foul calls go against the Dolphins, and NYU's been pretty aggressive down in the post. That time, Tadaro looking to score on the low post, just came away with the basket on the Dolphins' last possession down there, and she'll head to the line for a couple here, looking to extend the Dolphins' lead back to double digits.
2 big free throws coming up for Tadero. She hits the first, and she'll have one more upcoming. 5 minutes and 15 seconds. That was Diana's 6th point of the afternoon. Make that 7, and the Dolphins lead by double digits with 5:15 remaining here in the fourth. Kamaya with the basketball. She had that big three-pointer. Kufi driving her way inside, and she's able to lay it up and in. And now the Violets, Joe, with baskets on their last 2 possessions. They need to get their offense going as well.
And more importantly for NYU, a couple of quick baskets. We mentioned how insurmountable a double-digit lead could seem late in this game.
As Perot drives her way inside, she misses the first, but able to lay it back up and in. Good stick-to-itness that time by Perone, Joe. Her first basket since the first quarter.
And you took the words right out of my mouth. A strong start for Perone. 8 points in the first, scoring for the first time since then. Was relegated to the bench in part by foul trouble.
Big bad possession here for the Violets, and they turn the ball over with 4 minutes and 28 seconds remaining as the Violets will make a substitution as Bianca Notarani will come back into the game. But Joe, starting to get late for the Violets, a 10-point lead for the Dolphins.
And as the Dolphins finally able to put some points up on the scoreboard, the Violets unable to do the same. CSI's defense has been stifling throughout this game. That's continued here in the fourth.
As we're going to have a whistle and an offensive foul called away from the ball on the Dolphins. Boy, oh boy, tough call, Joe, in the fourth quarter.
And I really don't recall seeing this many fouls called away from the play in a game. I've seen so many of those since sitting down here with you after halftime, and that's continued through the entirety of the second half.
So let's see if the Violets can take advantage of it now as it's Koyamaya with the basketball. And the Violets still down by 10. Tadero able to get a hand on it but not retrieve it as the Violets working around for a nice open look at the 3. That's no good, but a nice play by Barrett to get in and grab the rebound for NYU. Koyamaya with the basketball, now Barrett. Dolphins, good defense, forcing NYU to take time off the clock. Now the open three-pointer by Kamara, and that's good in the foul. Boy, oh boy. A three-pointer and a foul called on the Dolphins. And, you know, Joe, that second chance really hurt the Dolphins on that possession.
And that's one way to jumpstart an NYU comeback attempt. A foul called on the three-pointer. I'm not sure that you like the call any more than the Dolphins did.
It was a terrible call, Joe. And now they're going to give the Violets the ball underneath the basket as well. Boy, you talk about getting the Violets right back into the game. Let's see if NYU can take advantage of it here. The lead down to 7 now for the Dolphins.
So they counted that basket and then followed it with an away from the play foul to give NYU possession?
A foul after the shot, giving NYU possession, as that's a travel, and now the Violets turn the ball over. So The Violets not able to take advantage of it. The Dolphins lead, though, Joe, just down to 7. Still anybody's game.
Well, I'm not sure I've ever seen such a call on a made 3 that doesn't award at least the free throw, but 7-point Dolphins lead as it stands.
So now the Dolphins with the basketball now as it's McEwen. And we're going to have a whistle at 3 seconds as for some reason Tadaro in the lane, Joe. The Dolphins the ball way outside. So the Dolphins turn it over once again and open the door once again for the Violets.
Not only fouls away from the ball, but violations and 3 seconds away from the ball at both ends of the floor.
So let's see if the Violets can take advantage. Now another open three-point look. That's no good. A lot of contact, and this time the foul will be called on the Violets, so the Dolphins will get to inbound the ball. Both teams now, Joe, 4 team fouls apiece.
So the Dolphins will not head to the line yet, but will have that luxury if they're able to draw one more foul. With the physicality of this quarter, both on the ball and away from the ball, you have to think that at least one of these teams will find themselves in a bonus situation down the stretch.
Tadaro with a pass to McEwen, and now the Dolphins can afford to set up offensively with 21 seconds on the shot clock. Tadaro, the shot early in the shot clock, that's no good, and the rebound grabbed by the Violets. Open three-point look is good. And now we're going to have a foul in the backcourt. So NYU cutting it all the way down to 4, Joe. The Dolphins had this lead up to 11 just moments ago, 35-24. Since then, it's been an 11-4 Violet run, but now McEwen will go to the free throw line and shoot 2. But not till we have a timeout on the floor first, Joe.
Well, you made a good point there, Mike, on that last Dolphins possession. Tadaro looking to shoot very early in the shot clock with about 2.5 minutes to go. You don't want to slow the pace down too much, but the Dolphins move straight up the court. Tadaro with a good open look, and those are shots you'd like to see her knock down, but still a bit early in the shot clock for it. And the Dolphins did pay as NYU was able to get out in transition and hit a huge three-pointer to make this a 4-point game. I'm not sure if you wanted to foul there if you're the Violets, but if you were going to foul, better to do so immediately off the inbound than letting some time come off the clock.
Yeah, so NYU now in the middle of a 6-0 run after the Dolphins have went up by as many as 11, 35-24 with 5 minutes and 43 seconds remaining. And, you know, Joe, you knew it was just a matter of time before both teams started to pick up the offense a little bit.
And they really have picked it up here in the first quarter, more so in the second half as a whole. Towards the end of that third quarter, both teams started to get on track. Maybe NYU got jump-started first. The Dolphins, though, came out very strong in the fourth. You mentioned the big run the Dolphins were able to get on after this game was tied at 18. I believe you said 17-6 was that big Dolphins run. So CSI jumped out to a nice double-digit lead, but you have to love the response if you're a fan of NYU. Bouncing back, not being phased by being down double digits late in the fourth, have worked their way back to within 4, still an eternity remaining.
Yeah, and, you know, the Dolphins turning the ball over a couple of times, and NYU also able to take advantage of a couple of offensive rebounds and now a couple of big free throws coming up for Megan McEwen. First is up and in. Dolphins lead by 5 now, 40-35.
And now in the bonus, every free throw will be huge for the College of Staten Island late in this game. And you have to think NYU may look to put them on the line should this lead get extended.
So the Dolphins now up their lead to 6 as the Dolphins back up a little bit and let NYU come up to the three-point line. Barrett with the basketball. Big possession here for the Violets. And we're going to have a whistle and a timeout taken by NYU. 12 seconds into the shot clock. It'll be a 30-second timeout, Joe. We'll keep it right here. 2 minutes, 19 seconds remaining.
And this possession becomes that much bigger for NYU. Dolphins did a good job not letting the Violets move up the court quickly and score an easy basket off of the inbound. So the Dolphins now have 18 seconds to hold here. That would bring us to about 2 minutes remaining in the quarter. NYU wouldn't foul down 2 possessions, but if the Dolphins can make this a 3-possession game, that really puts the Violets' backs up against the wall and forces them to think about fouling even if they do score a basket. We'll see if the Violets can come away with one here and avoid that situation.
So the Violets coming out onto the floor now. They'll have 18 seconds remaining on the shot clock. It's Perone and Bessie to Darrow, McEwen, and Rubinski on the floor now for the Dolphins as the Violets inbound the basketball. Violets running the shot clock down to 10 now as that's Linebarger with the basketball. She drives her way inside, is able to force the ball up to the basket and in and draw the foul. So once again, another foul called on the Dolphins. This one will be on Perone as she picks up her fourth, and an opportunity for NYU to make it a one-possession game.
And a great strong move there by Olivia Linebarger, taking it right at Rosa Perone, the Dolphins' lone 6-footer out there in the game. And we'll see which way this one goes, and it will go in favor of the Violets. So now NYU with a chance to come away with 4 points on this possession, perhaps as many as 5 if they're able to knock down a three-pointer.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Joe. I thought that was clearly off of NYU and knocked out of bounds. Let's see if the official changes the call, and I guess they're not going to. So it's going to be, I think, a discussion about whether they should reset the shot clock. So now the shot clock reset for NYU. So the Dolphins can't grab the rebound off the missed shot attempt, and that will give the Violets another opportunity. Notarahi with the basketball. Feeds it over to Linebarger. Linebarger working it across now to Barrett. Barrett picks up a dribble, now hands the ball off to Notarahi. Notarahi with the basketball. It's a jump ball, and the possession arrow will remain with NYU, but now just 13 on the shot clock.
Well, Dolphins doing a good job again, forcing NYU to work late into the shot clock. We're now down inside of 2 minutes 13 remaining on the shot clock for the Violets.
So the Violets able to get the ball in. Now it's Linebarger with the basketball, and it's stolen away by Rubinski, and Rubinski smartly bringing the ball back, and she's going to be fouled in the backcourt. Big turnover that time. Nice defense by the Dolphins.
Well, I was curious to see if CSI would be fouled there, leading by 4 points, and indeed NYU does elect to foul instead of allowing CSI to run some more time off the clock, and now CSI has every free throw looming large down the stretch in this game. NYU trying to keep this game within 2 possessions, and over a minute and a half to go. They will be within 2 possessions regardless of the result from the line here.
As Rubinski's first free throw is up and in. She's now 4 of 5 from the line here this afternoon as she hits that first free throw to make it a 2-possession game. Rubinski's second free throw is up and in. 2 big free throws, Joe, by the sophomore.
Huge free throws for Rubinski. Dolphins lead now extended to 6, and that really puts a lot of pressure on NYU once again. And you have to like the Dolphins being able to rebound from allowing that and one, and then giving the Violets possession back on the out of bounds, answering at the free throw line with a pair of huge free throws.
Let's see what Barrett can do here with the basketball. Is a lot of contact inside on the play, but NYU able to maintain possession as it comes over to Notarahi. Her 3-point attempt is up, no good. A fight for possession, and once again, Dolphins not able to grab that big rebound down the stretch. Wide open 3-point look by Koyama. That's no good. The ball's going to be tipped out of bounds, and this time it'll be Dolphin basketball. So NYU buzzing around, Joe, but not able to get that big basket.
And where NYU has really kept themselves in this game is on the offensive glass. They've hit a couple of big 3-pointers as well, but on the offensive glass, NYU has done a great job here in this 4th quarter as you have those offensive rebound numbers right in front of you.
Yeah, you know, Joe, that's their 12th offensive rebound, just 5 for the Dolphins, but the Dolphins come away with the basketball now as they very nearly got called for the travel, and now McEwen hit in the face. So she'll get to go to the free throw line with 1:03 remaining. And, boy, NYU had some big opportunities, but you got to give the Dolphins a lot of credit, Joe. They kept sticking to it defensively.
And late in the shot clock there, once again, NYU swinging the ball around. Got a great look from 3 off the offensive rebound. Not a great look before that, which resulted in the offensive board. As McEwen hits another big free throw for the Dolphins. And, Mike, that all-important free throw makes it a 3-possession game.
Yeah, and, you know, the Dolphins now over 85% from the line, Joe, in a game where they've only scored 44 points at 12 of 14. Now 13 of 15 from the line. A big difference as they lead by 8 with 1 minute remaining here in the 4th quarter. Koymaya with the basketball. Koymaya. Dolphins doing a good job, Joe, even in these possessions, forcing NYU to use a lot of clock. The long 3-pointer up off the shot clock and out of bounds. That might have been one of the last opportunities. But once again, Joe, even when NYU gets the shot up, the Dolphins forcing them to take 10, 12, 14 seconds off the shot clock.
And the Dolphins' defense all game long has been fantastic. NYU had a little run at one point in the third, eventually drew even in this game, but CSI getting it done from the free throw line late. And, of course, as I just said, at the defensive end is Megan McEwen's been a beacon for hard fouls in this game. She's gone down several times and will head to the line again. But you have to love the effort of this Dolphins team. Much better offensively in the second half as well, 27 points, which is still a bit short of where you'd want to be. But if you can average about 15 a quarter playing this kind of defense, you're giving yourself a chance just about every game.
Yeah, and, you know, for the Dolphins to – as McEwen's first free throw is up and in, Megan now 6 of 7 from the line. She has 15 points. Joe, we mentioned earlier she had 16 in the opener and so much responsibility on her shoulders, and she's really played fantastic in her first 2 games as the Dolphins starting point guard, as the Dolphins up their lead back up to 10, Joe.
Well, I mentioned her versatility on offense, can score in the paint. We've seen that. Good movement off the ball as well, receiving a nice pass on a cut earlier in the second half, but can also score from the outside. We've seen her knock down the three-pointer, and her effort and intensity on defense and on the boards doesn't go unnoticed, I'm sure, by the fans, our viewers, and, of course, her coaching staff. You have to love the effort she's brought forth in the first 2 games for the College of Staten Island.
Yeah, so the Dolphins, now led by Megan McEwen, 16 points, have upped the lead to 10, 47-37 with 41.1 seconds remaining, Joe. And, you know, you can never say never, but the Dolphins have put themselves in a real big position going down the stretch here. And, you know, this is a big game, Joe. They have a week off after today before their next game as they'll go on the road for the – they'll go on the road on Tuesday against William Patterson. So a big road game coming up, a big test on the road for the Dolphins, and they'd love to go into it having beaten NYU for just for the second time in a row.
And it certainly looks like the Dolphins will head into that game at William Patterson 2-0, up 10 with just over 40 seconds to go in this game. A great effort down the stretch in this one after a bit of a slow offensive first half. Definitely a slow offensive half. In half number 1, the Dolphins rebounding nicely. A good all-around effort in game number 1 against St. Joseph's College of Brooklyn as well 3 days ago. And if you're the Dolphins, you have to like where you are right now, especially coming out of this game with a stronger second half. If you had had a lackluster second half, maybe a cause for concern, but it seems the Dolphins have corrected some of those issues that plagued them in half number 1.
So it's going to be NYU to inbound the basketball. They need a basket, and they need one quickly as they work the ball out for the open three-pointer, and that's good, and that can keep them in the game with 35.4 seconds, now 33-8. And the Dolphins will go to the free throw line as it'll be Megan McEwen, and she's been red hot, Joe, from the line here, especially coming down the stretch.
7 of 8 for McEwen from the free throw line, now with 16 points overall. And if she's able to put down these 2 free throws and add 2 points to her ledger, that will be half of her total points in this game coming from the free throw line. These next 2 free throws could make it 8 and 9.
As McEwen's first free throw hits the rim twice but bounce in, and that opens the Dolphin lead now to 8, 33.8 seconds remaining.
And the Dolphins' free throw shooting has really shut the door on NYU. The Dolphins have made no mistakes from the free throw line down the stretch. And how many times in the past have we seen men and women's games come down to free throws with one team losing the game at the charity stripe?
No doubt about it, as the Dolphins now lead by 9. And once again, the Dolphins doing a good job of forcing NYU to take a lot of time off the clock. They do so. And now the Dolphins get it in. And they're going to turn the ball over with 18.4 seconds remaining. I don't believe Rubinski set herself up in position. She didn't. So the Dolphins open the door up once again.
I could have sworn that the game clock didn't stop running. I don't know if the officials caught it. The NYU bench certainly did. But perhaps Rubinski just caught the ball standing on the baseline.
No, she didn't. What happened, Joe, was she was standing out of bounds, and she didn't establish position back on the floor before she caught the inbounds pass. So that's what gives NYU the basketball, as that three-pointer is up no good, and we're going to have a whistle, and we're going to have a foul on the Violet. So NYU had an opportunity there, Joe, to make it a one-point possession, a one-possession game, but they couldn't hit the three-pointer. And now Megan McEwen goes back to the line for the Dolphins.
Well, we nearly closed the door on NYU a bit too soon. A miscue there by the Dolphins, not only on the inbound, but allowing that wide open three in the corner. Certainly didn't want to allow a three there, as McEwen once again connects from the line. She's done a great job for the Dolphins there, but a mistake there by the Dolphins, allowing the initial open three, then on the inbound. Fortunately for them, NYU unable to make them pay for that second mistake with another three-pointer in the corner, as that was an air ball.
As that makes it a three-possession game, as McEwen doing a great job getting up to 20 now to lead all scorers here this afternoon, as we're now within 10 seconds remaining here this afternoon. Cormier, the long three-pointer is up off the shot clock and no good, and that should do it, Joe. 8 seconds remaining, 5.7 seconds remaining. The Dolphins up by 8.
And given the way that first half went, I'm not sure either of us expected a 51-43 game. We'll see if the Dolphins are fouled again. They will be. So NYU not letting this one end so soon with under 5 seconds to go. But the way that first half went, neither of us saw this coming. The Dolphins with a much stronger second half than first, putting 33 points up on the scoreboard so far in the second half. Diana Todaro will look to add to that.
And what a performance, Joe, by the Dolphins from the line, especially down the stretch. 19 of 21, over 90%. And boy, you make your life easier, Joe, when you hit your free throws down the stretch.
You certainly do, and it gives you some extra breathing room, especially when you have the lead in a game. If you're not confident in your ability to head to the free throw line and knock down those foul shots, it puts you in a precarious spot late in the game. Dolphins did have a bit of an extended lead, between 6 and 8 points late, so it would have been difficult to lose the game from there, but I think you can certainly say they closed it out from the free throw line.
As that ball goes in the corner, and this time it was the Violets, it was Nodarani on the end line, not reestablishing position. So it will be the Dolphins to inbound the basketball here, as they're going to wrap things up with their second consecutive non-conference home win, and they will get ready to face Williams-Patterson this Tuesday afternoon as they defeat the NYU Violets for the second year in a row by a final score of 53-43.
And I think this game is summed up with saying a bit of a slow first half for both sides. Great second half for the College of Staten Island. Continued the tremendous defense in half number 2 and got it done at the offensive end, especially from the free throw line late in this game when they were forced into taking free throws in order to maintain their lead. They were able to knock those down. For NYU, they hit some big shots late, but overall didn't shoot the ball very well from the field. 27% for them, 8 of 34 from beyond the arc, and that number of three-point attempts, a hefty number for the Violets of NYU. Dolphins finished the game 2 of 10 from beyond the arc, and I think the Violet reliance on three-pointers may have hurt them a bit. Simply didn't knock those shots down. Overall from the field, the Dolphins plus 7% at 34 as opposed to 27 for the Violets. So CSI out shooting NYU in this game, and down the stretch, of course, out shooting them from the free throw line. Dolphins 21 of 23 on the game from the charity stripe. Violets 3 of 7.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we're going to get a guest here to come over and speak with us here this afternoon, Joe, but you know, at the end of the win against St. Joe's Brooklyn, Megan McEwen came over, and you know, like a lot of these Dolphins, she came over and really had a lot of confidence in the way that this team could play and, you know, her ability to run the team as a point guard. And I think you saw it here this afternoon. And, you know, you need the player that's going to have the ball in her hands to be able to hit free throws. And down the stretch, Megan McEwen did just that.
She did. And I mentioned her defensive intensity all game as well, always hounding the ball handler, aggressively chasing down rebounds and loose balls. She did it all for the Dolphins in this game and has done so during the first 2 games of the season. We're not on the air again until Tuesday, November 20th, and as the Dolphins will take on Misericordia. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but Dolphins take on Misericordia on November 20th, 2018. We're on the air 15 minutes before tip-off at 6:45 p.m. That's our next women's basketball broadcast. And then, aside from that one, we don't have another broadcast until December, on December 4th, a doubleheader for the men and the women against John Jay.
Yeah, you know, Joe, the men are going to go on the road. They're going to have a lot of tough non-conference games. They're going to play Misericordia this week, and then they're going to go down to Roanoke, Virginia for a pair of games. So, as usual, head coach T.J. Tibbs loading up the early preseason schedule for the Dolphins. But for the CSI women's team, Joe, you have to be really excited the way the season started, especially the way they struggled in the middle of this game, stuck to it, and were able to come away with a big 10-point win against NYU.
And we failed to mention it earlier in the game or during halftime that they did struggle a bit early in that game against St. Joseph's College of Brooklyn. Rebounded nicely from that, won that game by 24. Early struggles in the first half today, once again, able to bounce back in the second half and win this game by double digits, taking a 10-point victory over NYU, defeating the Violets for the second year in a row.
So that's going to wrap things up here from the tank at the College of Staten Island. Once again, CSI wins their second consecutive game in a row as they defeat the NYU Violets by a final score of 53-43. So for Joe Foreman, this is Mike Babuski saying thanks for watching. Don't forget our next broadcast will be the women back in action Tuesday, November 20th, as they will face Misericordia College right here at the tank at CSI. And don't forget to get all your information regarding everything CSI sports at CSIDolphins.com. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you November 20th as the Dolphins will play Misericordia.